Hello everybody, this is the 15th lecture of the IELTS. Today we are going to take another example for writing task number 1 for the academic IELTS. Today we are going to take a graph. We have a statement says the graph below shows the population change between 1940 and 2000 in 3 different countries in the US, state of Oregon. The question says summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. This is the graph. Please, I want you to have a look and focus on. It talks about the population in the state of Oregon by county 1940 to 2000 in thousands. The yellow we have is about Washington, the blue is about Yamhill, and the green is about Columbia. Okay, let's come to the first paragraph. If you remember when we said that the introductory to this kind is the statement but paraphrasing it or writing it in another way. The graph shows the increase in population of 3 counties, Columbia, Yamhill, and Washington, in the US state of Oregon, between 1940 and 2000. In 1940, Columbia had the lowest population of the 3 counties, at around 25,000. This compared with about 30,000 in Yamhill and approximately 75,000 in Washington. By 1970, Colombia's population had risen to just under 36,000, although this appears on the graph to be a gentle increase. It's in fact an increase of approximately 50%. Yamhill's population also rose by nearly 50% between 1940 and 1970, from 30,000 to just under 45,000. However, the greatest real increase was in Washington, where the population in 1970 had increased by approximately 75,000 to 125,000. Okay, if you notice here, in the first line I used although to contrast, and instead of using but. Why? Because using although here gives a very high band word score. It's regarded as a very high band word score. This is number 1. In the third line, I used approximately 50%. I didn't say about or around, and I repeated this word. Yes, we avoid repetition, but for this word, it's so quite to repeat it because there is no other word to give you a high band score like approximately. So I used it several times. Also in the coming paragraphs you will see that I used it. For contrast, in the 4th line after number 45,000 I used however. I could use any other use, but however, in order not to repeat although, I used however. Here, I could also omit it and say the greatest real increase, but however, no. It's very important here. Why? Because made the readers, those who would correct your papers, your sheets of paper, focus on the point I want to talk about. Okay, let's go on. The years 1970 to 2000 saw the populations of Columbia and Yamhill increased by approximately, again as I told you, the same amounts that they had increased by the 30 years before. In 2000, Colombia's population at approximately 76,000 was a triple what it had been in 1940. Likewise, I'm using here likewise instead of using any other word. Why? Because it gives a very, very, very high band word score. It increases your points here, this word. Why? Because it means that that thing is alike with it. And instead of saying alike is a very low band word score. Yamhill's population at around 90,000 was almost triple what it was in 1940. Instead of likewise, I could use the same thing happened to blah blah, but that would be very, very, very weak English language for the IELTS, by the way. Okay, we have in the last paragraph I wrote, although Washington's increase in population between 1940 and 1970 was large, its increase in the following 30 years was even sharper, rising from about 125,000 in 1970 to more than 240,000 in 2000. Okay, what we did here in this figure, we said in figure writing 90% we compare. We compared the counties, each county with itself and the differences. This is number one with the population and over the years. Then we compared each one with the others. We wrote the similarities and the differences. This is what we do 90% in our writing of the IELTS Task 1, the academic one. And be careful, do not forget what we talked about last lecture, lecture number 14. We said never write your opinion or an opinion because it's just interpreting the information in the figure into words you write there. Okay, thank you very much for watching this lecture, which that you got the benefit. If you liked it, please just press the button of subscribe. If you have any questions, you may ask them in the comments. If you have any criticism, please just write it in the comments too. Thanks for watching. It was Mr. Haidar ALcasseer with you. Thank you.